Aitsi'poyiiks singers, if you can open our celebrations with a flag song. Okay. Thank you very much, Aitsi'poyiiks singers. We have an interesting agenda today, and one of the things that we will begin with is an elders forum. The knowledge keepers, they're going to sit here and talk about several topics that we wanted to give more information about how we have preserved our language. If I can get somebody to prepare our seating format for our elders as they will make their way up. But in the meantime, I will ask with a blessing of our celebrations here.
Hello, my relatives. Niitsipowahsin, the real language. Niitsipowahsin, the real person. Niitsipowahsin, a real person. Mai'stoi'na, a real home. These are all Niitsipowahsin, the real way of our people. So I'd like to encourage those of you who are not comfortable with our mother tongue to sit next to somebody who is and rely on that person to interpret and to try and follow what is being discussed in our language. Because it is a language conference, 90% of the dialogue that we are about to share will be in Blackfoot. As one of the elders said, if we begin to meet and discuss things in the English language, then we get lazy to learn the Blackfoot language. So try your best to Niitsipowahsin, the real language of our people. Ayo na pisti baita pio. Hogena ki tohtmo kanikama to simana tsimuikani. Gidati stapan ikatsimaka kinoka sknat nikaki. Hanno da ko pihpinani da ta paipo ihpinanik ni da pikaki. Nikachtas kots pinan sauki Niitsipowahsinani. Haumata passaki tsmida sitapi minnani kraki. Kidiksenyan sakwa kinapi. Spomo kinana kinakumanistai kimatus nani. Niitsipowahsinani. Noko sinanix nesoko sinanix. Nitsista pussoko sinanix aki. Nakumanistai istamatsan nanianikaki. Niitsipowahsini. Niitsitapi paitapi sini. Kimmo kinana kinapi Aitsi'poyiiks opiaki. Naanessik soukko ihpinani pakkaneipo ihpinani. Niksoukko ennaaniksaki. Kiamok souki tsihko ennaaniksaki. Siksikkaa. Hapatksi pikanyam skaapi pikanya no tsihkaa käinna. Ahksama ihtsioniga kinuhkitsi puutumuuki pinani. Niitsitapi paitapi sinanika Niitsipowahsinikaki anikaatsimuikani. Kiamuska kinohpi puutuuki pinani. Haamatuussimani nakuhtaakamutakpikahpinani. Nakuhtaakamutsiipiutsi pinani. Ahksama ihtia. Kitima johtoa nokani nämskaiksi nakaapai apuutsimaakaaki. Kipuksaphtaaksitikaaki. Nessokuusiksi itskina ekslaagatsi tomuttutsiipiukinnaani. Mautuukiiksi hakohattisamaajaakkukia. Niito ihkaukaika natsoomitääks kakkoiksi. Kiittokiiksi siksikkaa. Hakohatsiitaamaajaakkukia. Ahkessamaa istiaamutskakin puutuuki pinnaani. Naapihti paitapiopia. Hannakakateituuttukaikioakaaki. Ahkstaapaapiksen. Kinaanestik soukko ihpinani naapi. Meistä vipuka istuu kinaana nikakana seippumaa piikaa. Hanikist seistumissani nakitaa pipiiksiiksi kahtohpinaan. Hanikist savaihtaa apsuupik. Hannika paanaa piikaa. Kikitsineit siitaakaa paukamanikkaakin naapi. Hannikakana sukkaa nikanahtaa paipu ihpinaan. Nuhaakiksi kuihkaaki. Kinakapukana ahkiapims kahpinaananik saakakaapi kamaaqortimaanikkaaki anneekaanastaapaaniaan sakkuaakinaapi oogikitasksorpaukamunikuannik nomurtaaqarsaastawatsimaqpinnaani annikanourtaakiitaa pumaapi pinnaani ooginakorkastaorkuutsimatuupinnaanannikaaki istaapaissitappiopikaaki oogitsteenaapi annakiitaassatukaappaakimmatqkuimakaaki nomurtassinuutspinnaanaamurkaaksaeppumaappiikaaki Aki tama sa kaatu manakakihtisinaak sa eppumapi. Ako katukuni meanikaki tami paitapi sinikaki. O kinuko sinanik saaki. Nahkumanistokko istamatsen nanyanik. Maanistapsuka pihpini sitapi paitapi sini. Haamuhkai naapi kinokvipuutuuk pinnaani. Nahkumanistaa kimatuupinnaan. Oki kana pasisi kidasksorpaukamanikuannik kaamutaani kiahsaitapiissini. All that meant amen. So ikakimaka, try and situate yourself with the Blackfoot speakers. We're going to discuss some pretty important things in our language. We're going to invite some of the elders to come up here. The clans. Oh, kionska akasinaksisi. Oh, hipoksipuima ispumitapix. Xahkumitapiks kannikasayaski ja kannakakanaamiaansipiks joka hipoksipuima. There is a sacred kinship of all things. This is the belief of our people. And every time we ask an elder to pray, they need to acknowledge that kinship between the universe, Creator's world, life, the land. You look at our teepee designs, that acknowledges the universe. The top part of the teepee, the middle part represents life that we are a small part of, and at the very bottom, our connection to the land. Ich kann papi mutsi man nakakanaamiaansipiik sa kanika sayaski kaki. So ik see, and from that understanding comes akanina because our world view. And nuhka ik see mada konoita psknokiana because I met with an archaeologist the other day. Gave me an honorarium of $200. He said, what kind of information can you share? They were trying to change the name of Wally's Beach. What kind of information, how much can you tell me about Wally's Beach for this $200? I told him, for $200, I'll tell you, it's not called Wally's Beach. As sokistotokakaach soalax, bini matukanapi kax aikipitapa hipunishtatsia, mamilkaki kinatse, hane, as sokistotokakaach soalax, and gidaganis tamatsokwai. Come so oxy sokistatoanki. They'll just take big stitches in terms of their sharing with you if you don't treat them good. But if you treat them good, then they're going to stay stamatsukoi. So as sukustatokan humukse gidakohtoi, sikix moksiaksi, puiksumwkinevski pitakix. When milkaki kinani. Suodon pukanaamats katohni päätäpiis, niin leikstitsinikoama, tiitsiniko tukskaami pistahkaano tisatotitukuk kimi ne pistahkaani unnakannikku hanena nokanist sikappistuk hanikin maatattaast subsataana piikoaks udami simma ja sikkinistuttuk so asukistuttuk kaarsaaks kilaartikaasta paa otista piitsispa Moccasin päätäpiis, no ikse samsuup, niitsipia. Kaikka kohkakoi, se tuhpitse nuuksahkui. Maatumi testispa nitkuunoi, itse samsi, kiistonnoonasta kun näin samsuup. Sksenoi skuhtsika, onks omkstonnatsi piiksi, ikski tää kohtsemispaano. Sekin se muusi, että niksist. Oukimi ässinähpi. Mä oon sitsinnikpi mukaan. Niitä tuuma ässinäkin, mukaan sitä kattois. Itse mi otsatten mukaan umkitsikkapisä. Kiitän otetaan nikäkin mä saaksikkin muki. Piiniukkaat. Kitää kohkutukas. Hiikiamata piisistsikko on mitä paaksuukaan nupioi. Hiitän houkikin kohtamonesta taskinen tsihkaa taksinähpä. Niitä sitä piipäitä piisin. Hiitsit se mahkatsi piiksiiksi, eikö se ihpuksinakin. Spsinakin vaan saan. Kiistona on ahtit sinakin upaa saani, vaadakin samaakin siskam. Uustoi pisatsinaaksiksi, mksikästä päikutskiinnamme yksi sinaksiksi. Hookin huokiska avakska täiksi, anniksika jäätä pui, ässinäspi, itseisiksi ne maatsäiksi, niitä okstuhpius jakaissinaksiksi. Maan sitsinikpi kattuissa, itsupujäätsini kattuumani itse piipäitä piisin. Hookin mukse avakska täiksi. No katsotaista poista matsia huokiska aattui sanneeksi kennakaakin stapikkoksena kun ei sitä piipäitä piisi. Yksi pisata piakka kipäitä piisi noni. Nohnhe niin puhumat sitä puhpinnan naapikon issinaakin on mukaan. Uhkutukin me otit hokitaupihpi. Hiitän ja aamunin aakhui tapiimme. Miksi otit hanoa niitä? Kristaapia mukaan. Näistä on ohan sitten. Näistä ei hanoa puukioimuksi. Sitä etsini ennen stapsioksi naaksina. Houkina heimatsit sielmiä ässinehpi. Ka mikään noin ainakin. Ihki pistaama spitsumuuki, istui, funo kaumitainami, otsit hoki pistaapi, äänäkaasi, ota käänäkaasi. Miksi muka kiapiikoeksi ja haamuusinaaksina, haanesti samsio, häkitsaapiaan jopa, niin se tsikuputui kiipi, pustui 15,000 years. Maatumi tähtiaapuno kaumiteeksi. Tästä paapiaan huokaihtisinaakin muiskapuno kaumitaan. Sitten supuhtsis ja käy näistäkin maatoksenoa. Niin kuin puhtika maa saakissa käksinä. Sitten sitä siinä on kaikki tietsini kooki. Nakaukana kaapaajuukaa. Itsikajissinem muuni sitsikuputeki umaksi kiipippustui. Annaakanessa namna kaakuu tuohkamaan niitä tappi. Haksistui, hakspistumuki. Punukaan teakin takipistää jäänäkaasi. Ne niitä piikajissinem. Otaakuu tohsi naapiikoaksi. Houkikista noina niitä äänskaasi koupa niitä se tappi. The real people. Naapikoaksi stannistäänniska tää naapikoon. Kahkanasknoa naapio. He's the one that taught us how not to do things. Iitsini pachistotsim. Hogimiksina bikuaksutoltuxsa. Itsamia iitsini ookustotsimia otsiiksiinihpia. Itani moksi ila wakitapi. Naapion akok. Naapikoani ooksi. Iitsin ookustotsimia mo. On oksiksiinihpia. Iskaihtanastaan ikkattaja. Kienna ekonomiaanissitapia maanistsinnaapia. Niitään ikkattajaukska aapataamistsinnimaiksi. Umaksikaapiikoon. Kiistanonaaksikakanju niitsitapi. Niitä pitapi. The real people and kiistanona niitään ikkaatsko. Se onkin oikein kohtoa ja muuksi. Umakkinääksi aakaapää iitsinnikia. En nohka pinomaa mohtsoh siitä kyllä samaa kuin mä tapaapissi. Naapiikoeksi siitä mohtsi päätöpiä ihtääiksitsikumio. Kiistan on omaa tahvi puuttuut. Muas äänsikatsomataa kennään nohka kaatettupaatui, mutta miksi äsken apatsiiksi kaiken ja Indian time. Mä tännestä jo. The real Indian time is when you have to do important things, time is of little essence. That's Indian time, not this. Not because this is money. This is life. Kennäkin on sitä päin. Itseni kuhpua. Hanna käsin aksinäkin aksinoa. Aamu. Psinä kiupi. Huumi pinaa pohtii taupamaapi. Hänen ei topaattaa mukaan. Kaikki tsepimiutaassa. Hanni maukaa muusin aksini. Sikanista sitä kähkut. Kämistä akanista se. Tuo spannikseen. Astokki maa patoksuksi. Sitä puppia on naapsia. Mistä akseen. Kitsinua maanis tappiimah. Peamisesti otetaan siis tahpaat. Mä tappiimaja. Ja mulla kitää kohti paas kapiimukseni. Tuutsio mukaan piimaanesti. When you make a lean-to, you lean against something solid. So sitä pia ei skapiimaki. When you begin to counsel a young person, you lean against their heritage, their way of life. Niitsitapiisini, itskapiimuksini. That makes a strong person. And then iskapiimuksini. You're going to hear some old terms. Taka, itani noksi kihtookit. Se onkin saakaakanesti kihto. He used a low language, noksi kihtookit. Give me a cigarette or something to smoke. Näin noksi kihtookit. Young people will interpret that to say, do something to me. Which is far from what it actually means. So, so to the young people, sit next to a Blackfoot speaker and ask that person to interpret for you as we go along. Otherwise, we don't want you to miss any of the valuable information that you're about to hear. Hannegaan staapai hogi kitkanaaksi matsemupa. Akkana sukapi nokkaakiksi istikoika. Han.
Okay, we will begin our celebration with our elders. And we're going to have a panel and they will have several topics to discuss. Wilton gave you some good impressions about speaking our language. And one of the things that, when we use our language, we laugh a lot. We make, we enjoy having a laugh because laughter is the best medicine. And I know in some cases, I'll give you an example that I'm aware of, is, in white society, they call breakfast, and they have to say grace. They pray before they eat their meal. We have similar kind of things, but we don't call it grace. But in a lot of cases, we give thanks for the food that we are going to receive. And in many cases, as you can see, what we had for this morning was a sausage. And we would say, Aitsi'poyiiks. We pray it that way. We kind of exaggerate it, but it's fun to have those kind of things that make everybody enjoy speaking the language. So we will call upon our elders to come up to us. If you will make your way to this table here, we have Camina, Weasel, Moccasin. If you will come and join at the table here. We also have Aitsi'poyiiks Agnes, first charger. Okay. Puksapiki maat. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to locate our other elder. So we will be able to ask our present elder that joins us from the Siksika Nation, Herman, yellow old woman, if you can join us here. And if you follow along in your agenda, today's celebrations is the elders panel, the wisdom keepers. And what we would like to have them is kind of freely talk about at their leisure several topics. As we called it, the past, iskocht. Our oral tradition, Niitsipowahsin. And many of you also have heard about our writings. Some people, anthropologists call them pictographs, petroglyphs. So we will be asking our elders about their interpretation of our kadabo. Okay. Many of you have heard of writing on stone. We only call it Aitsi'poyiiks. It's a World Heritage Site where people have sort of understood some of our traditions, how we tell our tales of what some of our coups may be involved. And then we also have star stories, or kakatus. The stars that you see in the sky at night, these are the things that we hear about. And there's some stories that go with them. Niitsipowahsin. Anyama. The pipe ceremonies, pipe carriers, and some of those stories that talk about how we have these bundles. And I know it's one of these words that still kind of confuses a lot of people. We talk about governance. We have our own beliefs in how our communities respected each other. And there was common knowledge about traditions, protocols, and those kind of things. So we will hear from the elders on what we used to call our leadership of the day, how they were chosen, and those kind of things. And I know it's a big, long list. And it can take a long time. So what we will do is we will ask each elder, which one they want to, or pick one at your leisure and talk about those subjects. And I think in respect, our elder men have asked if the ladies will begin the discussion this morning. G'day, Soki, Expo. Okay.
Okei, kitkonaksi matsim puak. Niistä koks pomikit stakki vaaka. Naaksa pokin samakia tsinskakkaaki. Spomikit stakki omsi kitstaanisti späpä pikripi. Tatsaki konamaani. Anja tumpatsinskakkaa. Okei, Niitsipowahsin Niitsipowahsin. Aksutohkanoo pak Niitsipowahsin. Niitsipowahsin nistohkanoo pak. Kitamata Aitsi'poyiiks pak. Akstaatstu seni Niitsipowahsin. Annumaak opiivakaak. Ikakaitapiiv Aitsi'poyiiks. Kito Aitsi'poyiiks kukuai. Kuku savavaiksi kähkeitsitä piisitsi psatosuai. Nistunniksi nuku siksaa johkaneitsipojia ikäsukuhtsimia. Miksi nissuku siksi tautsasta piituukia. Kaksavai puatuumia. Matakseni itupa wa maapuukaa wa kähkitomatapay stamatsas. Aksta mikä kai puatu. Kanaikasti kuistak Aitsi'poyiiks noonis Niitsipowahsistak. Istajissi tapio pist. Kähkokeitsi tapi poisvai. Asakan jupak. Kanaikasti kuistaamista kaistajissi tapio piak. Akanst. Ikskaniiksikina maapuukaa vakitansta vaak niin puat. Ma tusseskitsit. Kähkitunaapsaak. Maksiistiiniki. Kähkitsiist. Nahkeen nissohkua kanaikasti kuistassiist. Hanskeitumukta. Kähkitannasta vaak. Tästä pikäksoispaa. Otsiksta tuopi pikäksi. Itsinsimaan. Käkattannista vaak uukkiit kitsimi. Kawai piksit kitsimi. Kämhkein Aitsi'poyiiksina käkan jopak johkaninnit. Miksi kukuai aksohkaninnit mikitsimik. Okski käkannasta vaan kähtsitä nakkimatsis. Nakkimatsis. Sitten niitä. Amistskoki niistä kanaikasti kuistista ajissa tapio. Käkannasta vaan kämstupiitaaki. Kähkitsu. Oks käkannasta vaan saapumahkaat. Nika juukkiis Mai'stoi'na. Aamustskoki niitkiskaki puukaekskaki. Mattomistu tuoja. Maksajististu tuuksavakia. Matatomistu tuo puukaeksaki. Ohpukapkaamaji puukaeks. Nitskini matsai Niitsipowahsin. The Blackfoot immersion. Simatapa puutsi pinnaan, sikakaitapi pinnaan. Kämpokai mattopiivakaaki. Aksne sinaakia tsupaaki. Miauta mitkutta puutsip. Anna taksikitstakiwa. Joy's first good striker. Antakai imatapa tuumaki. Niitsipowahsin mahkumannistas. Sinannakaaki puukavakaaki. Sitomatapskini matsanna niisitustuimiks. Titskini matsuuts pinnaanaaki mua. Kuusi. Night course and weekends. Titskini matsuuts pinnaanaaki. Early childhood. Muksi puukaeksi ni takaskini matsaksinnaani. Kinitokanaissa sapu kohpinnaanaa kännikaaki. Annikskaaki imatapskini matstokiikska. Nitsitokanaissinaakia tsispinnaanaaki takkutsi. Iskini matsaksannaana kännikaaki pukaasinaka. Okski ma puukavaaki. Nohkaajistsiukaaki. Hän nohkaaki maatataajistsiua oku soaksaka kohtomiistutuja minkäskaaki. Aamukskaaki Aitsi'poyiiks. Ma puukava Aitsi'poyiiva käkäisitsipsatsi miuksesta maataajistsiuaiksi. Aamustskoki niistiskaaki. Kanäänkästi kuististajissitapiupi. Akkuttaksaitsipuatu piavaaki. Okski nohksiikaaki maakannakaa Aitsi'poyiivakaa. Kennomaakaita piuaaki. Kitsaa Aitsi'poyiispuavaa. Kuku suovaksi, kissuku suovaksi, kähkohkaisitsipsat. Miksi nissuku siksi teitsitapiisitsipsata ja tautsista piituukia. Kaksi oippua tuumiavaaki. Akkutsi Aitsi'poyiia akania aasaa. Anja je. Okski maan puukavaa käksi. Akanistavaaki. Ikkahkaanistut kitsitaajukahpi. Maakaapikasti maataaki. Mistä puhtuut kitavkatsiist? Aamustskaji istohkanaajissa tapio paakanjopaak. Every day we use these in English. Ahkiitsitapiisitsipsataksinja. Niin suimmi tumitaamiksi pukumitaaja. Anstapsia chihuahuas. Kinahkai nitrupuusi. Teitsitapiisitsipsat. Ma kuhkootasta piituuki anniksi tumitaamiksi kaaki. Kinitrupuusi ma niin teitsitapiisitsipsat. Anja jääkannistutista piitsimia anniksi kaneitnaksimmiksi kissukuusvaiksi. Aitsi'poyiiksipsata enikä akootista piittakia. Okski ikekkami puukaeksi ikekkami isksinimmiawaakia Niitsipowahsin ahkutsi Aitsi'poyiiks Niitsitapiipäätäpi sinna. Matpipu tuutspaa kännikanni tumpistavakku. Tätä pipiukkua käämok hakukatsin. Kanaameanistu atuapsini. Tätä pipiukku. Nuhkaita pipiukka kuku suavaiksi. Ahkuhkitotsesta piitsimiä. Niitsitapiipäätäpi sinna. Jäikahki minnissa. Maksika kimaanawaakia iskseni maatsahpi. Annika jääkohtsipäätäpi vannakaa kissuhtakaa. Kimahkumanstaika kimatu sinävä Niitsipowahsin. Ikakavuvaakin nikaaki. Mahkutskseni sinävä. Almost different apps. Maksatsi sinävää ja mahkitutsesta piitsi sinävää. Anna kansta paikahkimin puovaakin noksiikakkimaakaakin. And those phrases that we use every day, niitä johtuukaavaakin. Mahkitomanstaskni sinä kennakaaki, upuka sinakaaki, Aitsi'poyiiks. Kennekin nohkanista kui hiikahkimin puaki, sitsipsatpuaki, anna nestspomistakaaki, mahkomannistastisni Aitsi'poyiiks. Hän.
Thank you. She covered several subjects too on the list. Our next one is Camina, Weasel, Moccasin, Okay, she will address the rest now. She will pick and choose some of the items that she wants to talk about. So she's done this a few times, so everybody appreciates her presentation. Okay.
Okay. Anakok ikinenski, nimchtutsitipiiks Aitsi'poyiiks. Anina anasta Alva Mini Chief, ginexista anasta Tamra Mini Chief. I was really honored to be asked to sit up here this morning for the panel. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to Na Ninst, and I'm really trying to hang on to all the words and translate in my mind, and I'm thinking like, oh, this must be how elders feel all the time. Trying to switch from Blackfoot to English. I really wish that I could just speak all in Blackfoot to you guys. But there's a few things that were coming to mind as I was listening. And one thing that I think is really important to share today, I was having a conversation with my older sister, Katira. Natuinchki, and we were talking about Niitsipowahsin, and she was saying, my whole life going through school, I was told Blackfoot is a dying language, and when it's a future, no one's going to speak it. And she's like, but it's 2024. We're still speaking it. She's like, I still speak it in my home. I'm teaching it to my kids. So we really need to shift the way that we're viewing our language and approaching it. Let's stop viewing it and approaching it as something that's in danger, and instead celebrate that we have a conference like this, that we can have our elders sit up here and speak entirely in Blackfoot to us. So that's one thing I want us to all kind of walk away with today is changing our perception of our Blackfoot language, really celebrating it for the strength and the power that it has and that it gives us when we speak it. I've been in archaeology and geography for 15, going on 16 years now. And I'm very fortunate that I've had a chance to work and live at Aitsi'poyiiks. Another name that I've been told for that place is Aitsi'poyiiks. So where we go to see the path ahead. And that is an important site that that place played for our people, where we can go there and interact with the rock art or the surrounding environment, and it would help to give us guidance for our future, where we can go. And so that's something that I've really tried to fight for in my career, is making sure that our people have access to those sacred and significant sites, and that we can interact with the landscape in the way that our ancestors always did. And so it's been going on 10 years now since I first proposed this idea to parks. Is I had said, what would the park do if somebody from the community came forward and said, I want to make rock art in the traditional sense? Would that be allowed? And it was really interesting. The park is still kind of not sure how to deal with that 10 years later. But it's something that I keep putting out there, because Niitsipowahsin, we have an inherent right to go to these sites and to interact with them the way that our ancestors did. And those sites miss us. When we go to those sites and we speak Blackfoot or we sing our clan songs, we feel the environment being happy. Kshakum is happy that we're there and that we're speaking the language, we're singing our songs, that we're bringing our children. And that's another really important thing, like I try to pull into my work, is a lot of times I have my 2 little children in tow. First, I would try to, kind of stress out about childcare. And then I kind of had this like, well, no, that's the only way my children are going to learn, is that they're with me and that I take them to these sites and that I teach them these songs and I teach them the words that are connected with this landscape. So that's one thing that I've really taken on, is it's my responsibility as an Againaki to make sure that my children have that relationship with Kshakum. It's our responsibility as adults to make sure that we're connecting our children with our way of life. So with Aitsi'poyiiks, that is such a powerful landscape that it connects, everything. I'm looking at this list and it's like, talking about that past and the present and carrying it into the future. That's one thing that I've always said about that site, is that it's really good for us today connecting to our ancestors in the past, but again, we're bringing our children, so we're also kind of helping to push it into the future. The stars and all of our star stories, they're there on that rock. There's certain places where we've seen which looks like a starburst. And so archaeologists think that that's, some thousand years ago, there was actually a star that had exploded. Our people witnessed that, and we carved it into the rock, and it's there. There's also Aitsi'poyiiks, that constellation. It's actually pecked into the rock. And when I had first started, Napikwans, oh, we don't know what that is, and they walk right past it. Had one elder take one look at it. So it's Aitsi'poyiiks. One look and right away they knew. Because of the connection to the land, to the language. And I think another really important thing I want to bring up today is we can't forget about our sign language. If our spoken language is supposed to be in danger, then our sign language even more so. So when you're taking that attempt to teach the language to your children, teach them the sign that goes with that word. That's one thing that I've kind of challenged my dad with recently. We were visiting around the table, and he was telling my kids, okay, I'm going to teach you a Blackfoot word a day. Today's word is matunni. And I just told him, okay, but what's the sign that goes with that word? And he sat there and said, matunni. So then me and my kids sat there, matunni, matunni. And once we got that, he said, yeah, and then you go appinakos. So then we sat there, okay, appinakos. So that really helped ingrain in me and my children's brains, that action with the word. So we got to make sure that we're also protecting and preserving our sign language as well. Because knowledge of our sign language is going to help us and our children interpret those rock art sites when they go to visit them. Instead of having a Napikwan tell them, we don't know what this is, our children will look and say, that's what this is. Oh, I know this isn't a man, this is a motoki, because look at the headdress that she's wearing on there. Those are little insights that Niitsipowahsin can give to rock art and rock art interpretation. And it all comes back to Niitsipowahsin. So I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Good explanations, and there's a lot more to learn, and they're always available. They're always hoping that somebody comes to visit them. Nah. But you have all that freedom to spend time with elders around our community, and that's the main idea of doing it. Okay. We will have Natuts, Herman, Yellow Old Woman from the Siksika Nation, to share his knowledge with us today. Okay.
Okay. Git khanak shmatsim khwa noka Aitsi'poyiiks amo bukan tsematskay paktsiyan hikata Ponukaiksik sinam naktukissak madaksapi poihpa Dukskas tegita yapi poi sitawaat stupa niksimstaan Matoma kamikayukska stoyo tsitsinan stroke sadamina kasok patsipa no tokaan ki niksikais niknakhat madukhat suka pio Idaksi ka kim yaksokitsinikuhpo Ihtaskinotsiopa Niksista kahkaanio annom ihtuutu. Ninna Aitsi'poyiiks siksikaikoon, kenen oht siksikaikoon. Tsikitakaiksu koihanno. Uunake niskinam tsino iipiem hegattaiksaassi. Miema siksikao nuhtu tsitapiemuksisk niitänihkattaiks saajiiks. Annamadin stonnan ninnaaniks naahsinaaniks annikse nuhtsinni issäikanniksi ihpinnan ammaanin. Nam on maahsu tsistkaksaanista Teina kaatstuup niin ihkaassemmiksi. Ansta stammiksiissiksinnam. Kinniä ni mattahsa ohkua ansta apepukau. Kinnin ansta apikais. Matsetu tsemma maarsa utsen ihkaassa maapohsois kennikäinisto setkane naks pamoksi nitpapiimiksi ki sits pistawaassa muhka kibata piis non miissiksikakianno ikanae ispiatumia muhkaki pummaksin Amma naahstaan ihkata stammiksiissiksinam. Uukuaanist kannoh ksissikui tsikuatuupis. Ouki anniksko kanniksiskaaki aitapiskatsimäiksi. Anhaka johkiitsi kistunnon. Madattaitutuissappi avattaatuupamohka aitapiskatsimäiksi. Muusta annikseen. Iskohtaka akapeipiksemmia Aitsi'poyiiks niitaaki kamitsti saamo naatoapio ahkottaa peipiksemaamekai hiitamiippukao hamiitohtaakanista pukaistuupa hannai niitskonataapsimukseskaki aitapiskatsemaiks Oki uhkoa. Mai'stoi'na Aitsi'poyiiks. Aitsi'poyiiks no hatta tapis katsema. Itskina matsetsens. Ninämska. Umuppistaan sitä mahkannastotsema muussaskaki. Moccasin. Otsitsi naksts. Itsen simuksiskaki niiden ihkateeksa kiittuki. Kiniksi mattanisten ihkataja kakkoiksi. Niksä matkannaastotse mut taas tapi. Keunno mahkitapio. Kinohatset se äitsnikatsia anniksko kaniksiskaki. Apuutsemia mohka innästiisin. Napikoeksi, utsemahkakkaiksi. Mahkitaapu mahkatohsa mohka innästiisin. Matsikaki tsitsiipu mohka ustoa. Aitsi'poyiiks mahkado hannikappiimatsia muksi aukaksemäksi. Kennoka aapumahkait idainapskui huutapi senannuma Agnes'taapi sujuhpauhko. Kitsihkavan nooniksi kääkkano tuja annum sujuhpauhko agitsinohsa tuupanikka kitsikka. Camina ninna on Aitsi'poyiiks Agnes'tau. Kennek ni toiksko käy. Ni toi ni tai aaksikoatsia ukosoiksi. Aikahkin ni miauka muhka maksi kaatohsa kipäätä piissennon. Kiiksessammi päätäpio. Mä tohkatskini paamu istui 80s, late 80s. Mohkins se saakkanapio. Kiamokska äitsinikätomia muksistsikoi manestaakaappi. Pannauki sitokauahka ja kimih puukiauahka ninna ässinnaakio. Sukitsinui ja minahse itoppiin. Heitapo. Hans hey chief, what do you think about the weather? Kima naks, jaumakkan no koomio, nekkima. Itse pussapio, dagidanisjoi, it's gonna snow. Kima napiaki, samsa ittomuja, kimia aista peipi. Anni kuukui, suku tuputau. Matonni maanis tuputau, kenjakkanis tuputau. Jäki, ja omatsi punstsi niksi avauhkeiksi, mohkinstis. Kenne, matumehtatsika itu taapsammia, ohkunnuja, annau akattavat siitä. He then say, hey chief, how did you know it was gonna snow? That begins, Jackie. It's in the bones. Kenniksä nohtu sitä ninna. Ustaan sitä apikais, apohsuis. Maahsaum kakskaa sikitä kahtsematawa. Nahmattaa johkiitsen ihkatsia. Deerfoot. Auakaassuumahkaa. Annaanesta. Kinnokamatse tohkiitsen ihkatsia. Deerfoota essikotuiomahkaa. Annesta auakaassuumahkaa. Kenne annain nohtu tsitapi ahkeapohts. Kenno niksesta ei kaassukitapio. Ukses saanesta enää kumaaki. Ääksummaksemiksi jaksknoa. Annouksiksi kaakio. Ki uksest ihtuutsitapi muksiskaan tänihkataiksi. Mi kutsapina kuumi. Red morning. Kimi un atsinnekoon. Akajamstsinima. Pinapuhtsanima ihtuutikämä ninst. Ilnikskoukia. Asakoa niin soitapi unstiksannu kaina itaniitsipuutua ja naaminnaja. Kenäsakoa niin iskohta captured women. Kennohikakatapi naaminnaiksi. Assinaa awan ja ikakae innia kainaakiiksi. Mä tätä niin tohan just se mukaan äkitäitseni katuukin päätäpiissen ainakin te iksanaupi ihtäikitävaapio. Kemmo naaksa kumaakio on akajamsteni mä muksis kunstiksa en ihkatsia en ihki. Kemmoksena seidi. Uhtuutsitapi Wadsworth, Chief Body. Kesat saut kenahka akajamsta telfeder sannikska. Anniksa muksaska itkano tuja pinapohts. Naaminna kennai anoka tsinne koanja. Tämäkin tuu kaina. Mä tohka ei koukist sen mukkaaksi. Se tapinakam saisk nuukia. Skohta tämäkin tuu naaksiksi. Sen täiksemmat sen mukia. Kennoh ni täipäs sen niin kuin mä tonni, että se muu tapassap mata. Akahkana muut sen ihkam annak nokskana hummahkitapiiksi. Kenne nohtuut sitä piu. Kemmo kitohtoa muksia Aitsi'poyiiks. Kitohtoa aikahkinen mukia. Kenhäkä tauts toim job. Kistoaki kaumahkitapiispua. You are elders. The elders that I'm talking about, they gone. Madat sitä passi. Iksemmakapsiiksi sitä. Kenhä kistoa. Kidaks naika kimahpua kähkäveistä matskatuksua niin päätäpiissen. Hakaumuutsen ihkamaniiksiskaki i nimmiksi. Iski nimmiksi. Kenhkista your responsibility is to produce our way of life. Annokamo awan ja nakitseni katoks. Aasi. Niin toi kannanesta pääsi mukaan kakatosi saamos pohtak. Niin iksen pummaksista. Kemmohkin innästiisen, niin nohtsin naksipoi mohkin nästiisen naaksa. Man se päätä piipä. Niin stootset siinä nakse. Nyt soajaa piipuissa, ja miksi on mahkita piiksi tästä mitsin oppia. Äitsenikis saa matak, nakitsestikin sinä tää jaksesta, joka tuu utsitse niksistä. Ahkeapuht saamukseen nohkohtua, eikö saamahke pitääkin ei kuukos sitä hakaita piitseni kuukinlaan, annestaan kristaapsi pistääkin. Mata jaa piipoji. Krisikos säkää pohkitu pihpennään täkää. Apua kahpennään kei kuukos sitä skitä puhpennään nuukua namhpuksaapioissamme. Sitä on istuttu muukinlaan. Sitä on puksuhiemu. Mä etsipä ässäiksistuu. Kistaakin tauanipua ässäiksistuu. Niistä on ässinääkin johpio. Mä etsipä. Keiksestoinikin naan. Sitä vaksi, kun muukin naan. Matseitsi aksi. Ksuhteessa mitsiksi juu kahpillaan. Tidamata pitsinikuukinnaan. Ikakomuusaskaaki tiniksiiskaaki. Titsinikuukinnaan. Sikiseta kitsinikuukinnaan. Kine niitä ajaksista. Tämäkin tsistakkahtse takaajistsuukatau. Tämäkin tukka kiusata muksi niskeeksi takkeeksi. Akohka näsiitä mihti poptaistuuk. Samskene mamaki pitääkin kaiksistimo. Muistus tsitsini koukis amka ninnaa annestaa ninnää saakkikin. Säkei näks ammi uus aksuu. Itä maatsastiuk katsiuk itä abstamakitsin suuhsamuksi aksuiksi. Kiitä itästä mimmaa. Miaista ipiakkiuhsamuksi itahpuukiukskaasio. Kiitä aina pimmiumakau kakatahpuukiumahkau. Itäskuja. Ikiskanaa piu kimaatamaitoutstujem kaksuus. Ästam skekkin miksi itekkamu mahkaja matassa muut se tätsikkua. Kianoa niihkä maan nina. Hokjaaga. Ästam kääkin tonnisksenimaa. Pisata piaasi mataskenipa maa puukau. Ei pisataapsis. Haakanoaskenimakaki. Niin täpi kuinka muuttuupa. Käki kohkui pisataapsikin. Miikä. Etapsuu ja issapuu. Madaksa pukitseni katuupa. Datsinna katsitseni muhkaa suuhsin. Ikinnuitseni kaasistikistika. Kinesse inhkäasio. Muksaskaaki äsuoiksi matsin ihkäasio. Mohki pitääkin hitaa pukakio hasta mummattani sikissä Aitsi'poyiiks. Kemikä on ei tuu ihkä issapuu. Hidanissi ihkä annu nikai taa johkimaat. Dahe pukakiossa tuu nannistaakee. Itapsuuh pinnaan miksi Aitsi'poyiiks. Känikin miksi mattakaa että pia ei tapakkiu ihkämi. Ituuta missä tsemia miksi Aitsi'poyiiks se taapihpia. Kitskui kami. Hidanista joukien nohkaaki ei kuukus. Tukskam agitapskoami. Anneksi jos Aitsi'poyiiks se taakiikahpi. Kääkisi itapiksi Aitsi'poyiiks kemi tukskama ukoan äkisitsippiim. Kammakka etappi jos ikakaim utumitamueks aksinappimmukia. Kemma hitan sätskena akohpukuuma kiskan. Samumatskuus. Säkei näksiksi mitääks mataksinappimmiu. Kitsimman. Kema sahkumaa piekaksi näkee innakuim kakato siksi. Itamio pikimi jäitä piksessä pumahkaa. Kimi niin se kotskia natsio mujes. Mutta ukamu toihka. Kiitsen niissä ja on ikimi itsitsipien mujes. Aitsi'poyiiks kitanistiihkäiks. Okei sapu ni kautohpinnaan. Kema Aitsi'poyiiks niitä sammassammio. Otsakei näks samsaji toijoka muhka kitsipuhsen äskenimia niin teippujoopsiksi kaitstappi jo pitää saa himmani Amai. Ainapsko kiu koutussa. Kema sakma pisamika ksohpeipi kitamiopi kimikits kamiomakka. Miet oteittoutussa miksi ossiksi tännessi Tsani taapio. Kennekin taanihpua samikaksi napskus ni koutohpinnaan. Itani Okei. Hun napsik. Kemuksi ei nacht akkootsia me sakkumaapi utsepstaakoa. Kemuksi kite ota soeksi neki tomatskakia. Mistannestsemispä muksi ota soeksi. Kanekkaa ja jiiksanniksei. Istapskoi, umatskoi. Kimi hake mistannestsippiuks kaas. Piaama kahikaaku teippiu. Idaniihka. Annohkit sikopa ni kaassistsikko. Kima on ahkina idanissa saa kitanesta. Kitanesta kahkit kiapops. Kän haikimata. Kikaipan näissistsikko. Kän hamitsuukaa niki kiakitsikkan ninksis kiaksiin nikkiä. Idassa miihkä mi omaksemi tännissä. Kako stomoks kaassikoa. Ni taakuut kai kenno taakitsuuk. Ikaakois siihkä maa sahkumaapio. Kimi eest sumahkaihkä mi otaa sai Aitsi'poyiiks oikein just inaksuukaa. Mä tomu apinnakui ja apinnakum itse tomatappist itskukskaasi moksissa poikaiks. Kirsteikite hakahtaatskommahka ja täkstämukhat puukiukskaas. Kiamka ohtakonnika kiahkohtumahka ihkä. Uistoi miskitstaanitsitsi miksi uussiksi. Hidenissä hikaakin maan kahkumatkuttuut kajo kaaksikoukkia niin nuhtsetskumahka kuukoinoha pinnako idumadaphtsetskumahkaaja. Kennoin tahsaut kapiihkä miksi samuutskakia. Hidenissä ihkä mii utoutkais miksi sitä piimoiksi. Ni tahsaut sipjalnaana muksi punnukaomittai. Idani annohkaaki kristikoikaaki. Kidakhtsoin ihka knasot sknipa mohke niitsin ihka tau. Ututumin ihkaasum. Idani anhai kidakhtsoin ihkakko sahkuma piinnau. Annai niitsin ihka tau mohka. Kennoka nistutsin naksin tajohtsipa sahkuma piinnau. Hinaan tuumaa amuksiska opitsinen ihteeksä pistoon. Ei tehpiua tuuma, epuutappiua tuuma muhka. At sinne koeks mattuutsipahtuu panihka. Matsinaan et sio piiksi. Nistonnaan näistä enihkatannaan itskineeksi. Annu maatset siipa muh piiksi. Ikisa muat sipiu. Moccasin piiksio. Anneksä naathtsit sinnikki. Suohsen. Hakaiksen makaa pia. Madohattaa johtsiipa muosaska. Ikäkäitsenne kaasi. Suohsista. Mohka naaksa. Kitohsiipuut sen ikäsem. Apohsui. Aitsi'poyiiks Drummers ikäkäikemmatsi ipahtuumaka suuhsista. Kenne naattanessitsin ikatoupa muhka. Kimusi muistka. Kukaanest sinä tuupist. Muksi naaksiksi sin ikäteeksi. Kuuannes. Muumatuumuhts. Anoukut kuikukaan. Ohtsuuks kahpaakin. Kekkitstei kukaan. annakai ni sanno hitsin siitskineks nokkutta matskina kamikei kokatossa nakka ni sa se toksenihki tokska no matta hemmonisi kokaan mattanesteni katupia omi kokaan Giamonesto nohto koi sykenno i kokaan anni se tsiko atopis Oki käso kanieka käso aina panssatu paasi i päätapiotup Aitsi'poyiiks dagohtseniksi sepa mossaskaki I kokainiksen kakato siksi sinä ja moksaskaki Oku iipiuki I kokaiksi Kenne se ni dagohtsen kakohtehtoa sopanno koppo Aitsi'poyiiks I neskimeks kitaki ihvo Kitoko iipiuki pinnaan kitaiissuuki pinnaan kitauamatosimatopua kus kskanaattoni kimattoamatosimatopua magohtaassukaapis kipäätapiisen kokos noniks idäpstä istavasia kennemäihtitsepa mohka niin ihkaasemist Ikakko itsäkanniksi kunnonst. Hanne nuhtsta topa naksen iksissä muus. Iksuka piohaina katsomuihka topa anassi äitseni katopia. Maatseksistykseni kaaksen noniks ihka nohkokki ja pummaksen. Ja muissa stäätseni teka muiskenimma otkoksekin näki nohkohpukaapuutakin ma. Ikako siipun muukoist. Ikako tästä matsuukua. Sitten siinäksi nomata päästä matsuukua kipäätä piissen non. Naapia piust kikiston non kipäätä piissen. Ikako nohtehtoa psatuupa. Nohkaista päästä matsaa ahkeapuhtak annikaakin nohkitsituupistika. Ooki kerkots ahoktsokaapiisaakin nohksiissa koi kannoktaapihpinnaan. Kammokin naanikaakin ennakanaa töitä piukaakin. Kitäänih katsomatpinnaan kanääksisi koik. Ooki kerkohumaanista hitsiikaakin ennikaamatoussamaan. Annikaakin pummaksin. Annikaakin niin stavaapiin niin päätäpiisen. Annikaakin nakokehkiipinnaan on toopihpinnaan. Nakohteista tuspumista. Annikaatsumuihkaan. Annikaakin niin päätäpiisenkin nokkokkipa. Nakohtsapiksikkaihpa. Espumuukinnaan. Naa pios. Jen.
want to say thank you. No. So Herman has asked me to translate. I've been asked to translate. I'll try my best. Herman asked me to translate after the fact so that he doesn't lose his train of thought. So he started off by talking about his mother, Eva Delaney. Eva Delaney was born on Blood Reserve, and she came from the family of the Delaneys, the Wadsworths, Tail Feathers, Chief Bodies, Wolf Legs, Tail Feathers, and she married in Siksika. And her ancestors are four women that were captured from the Grovant, Aitsi'poyiiks. And they came to the Blood Reserve, and then they became they became members here and in Siksika. And she married Gordon Yellow Old Woman. His name was Aitsi'poyiiks, or White Quills. So back in the day, when Herman was growing up, he spoke Blackfoot. He didn't speak any English, so he understood a lot of what was being told, was the stories that were being told by older people in the community. And he would often listen to the old people tell their stories, and he would really enjoy listening to them. One of the people that used to tell them a lot of stories was this old lady, Aitsi'poyiiks. It's kind of like an unknown owl woman. So she would often tell them, so they would ride around during the day and go out playing and whatever, and then they would go to her house and sleep there. And at the time, they didn't have a lot of furniture and stuff like that, so they just make beds on the floor, and she would tell stories. And very often, the Herman would be the last one still awake. Everybody else would be asleep, and she would tell her stories. One of the stories was about Niitsipowahsin. Niitsipowahsin, I guess the translation would be something like Chief Long Hair, or Chief Straight Hair, I should say. And so as a very young man, as a child, Niitsipowahsin wanted to follow the older men that were going on raids, on horse raids, down into Crow territory. So the group would start off, and he would take off after. He'd let them go a little ways, then he'd take off after them. Well, they'd catch him and send him back, but he wouldn't give up. He'd just keep going. He'd just keep going after them until eventually one of the older men said, "Well, maybe this young man has a gift. Like other people, they go out and do vision quests, and they get a gift to be able to survive on the warpath." So they finally told him, "Okay, it's too dangerous out, by yourself, so you should just come along with us." So he went along, and they kept going, and eventually they got close to the Crow, and they told him, "Okay, you're going to wait here. The rest of us are going to go forward and we're going to check the camp, the crow camp. So they went up there, they checked the crow camp, they came back and they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to send one of our people, and one of the group is going to go down there and introduce themselves. They'll go into a teepee and introduce themselves and tell them, hello, we're here. And one of the men said, well, why don't we send the young guy? Why don't we send him? And they all agreed, yeah, we should send him. So they sent him, and he got on his horse, he rode down to the camp. And there was one teepee that was well lit. So he went over there, he walked and he sat down. And he told them, hello, we're here. And the crows didn't know whether to believe him or not, because he was such a young person. He was a child, telling them that we're here now. But they knew that he was Blackfoot. So after he told them, he got up, he walked back out, got on his horse and went back. And he told the group, well, I went to tell them that we're here. So he said, okay, let's get ready and we'll go get the horses. So they rode down, they rounded up the horses and they left. The crow were sitting in their teepee arguing about whether or not they should believe the young boy. And they were arguing about it so much that they didn't check the horses or anything like that. And they were able to take off with the horses. On the way back, Ninasok told him, well, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. And the older guys told him, well, we told you not to come along. Now you're tired, and the crow are going to catch up with you. If you want to go ahead and sleep, go ahead and sleep. So he rode into the trees, got off his horse, and he slept for a while. Well, when it started to dawn, the crows started passing him. So he got up, he got on his horse, and he rode behind the crow. And then eventually he rode past him and he caught up with everybody else, with his own group. And he told him, better hurry up, the crow are behind us. I just passed them. So they continued on and eventually they got home. So this, quickly, what I'm telling you, Herman had a lot more in the story. And even before that, he talked a little bit about or weather dancers. The weather dancers in the past could actually change the weather. They could forecast the weather. They could actually change the weather. If they were camping and they had a kokatsun or whatever, and they saw some rain clouds coming, then the weather dancers could actually get up and say, well, we're going to move that rain so it goes the other way. So they had this gift of being able to change the weather. And so his grandfather, Aitsi'poyiiks, or I guess we could say swims about. Man in the battle, Aitsi'poyiiks, man in the battle. So he was a weather dancer, and there was a Calgary Stampede was going on, and there was a parade. And so there was a fellow that was riding in the parade, and he saw the old man sitting there. And he went to ask him, so what's the weather going to be like? And the old man told him it's going to snow. And of course, they didn't believe him. But that night it snowed just like it did the other day here. And so they looked for him. And when they found him, he had been drinking, and he was feeling pretty good. They asked him, "How did you know it was gonna snow?" And he went like that and said, "It's in the bones." So that was that part of the story. So there was a lot more to what Herman had to talk about, but I could only remember the story. The other thing that Herman talked about was his teepee designs. The first one was the half yellow teepee design. There was the many offering teepee design, the otter teepee design, and the black elk siksinnoke kuka. So those are his four teepee designs, and then he sang the song for the teepee designs. Thank you.
Gienik so kak. Jago katina ka pai chinikopwa. Kimma puno kaiksiksinam. Taki to taitsika, ustiska taanistobit. Hakutina ksipui. Aanesti samsuupi. Napi kueks anoi tohtsikai no kitaamata pukstumuki. Pies kohtsikai kistanana tuutsi tapio. Taakottu tuumi pui muukiska istitsät tapio. Kennakoukamat tuumai tapio.
So Wilton's going to talk about our history. Our history is very long. What the white people talk about is just history from just a short time ago. So Wilton's going to talk about the old people and the new people. Or the first people, the original people, and then the first people.
Oh, kimuhka istitsaita piorka. Aikista pistetaaks muhka istipaita piop. Aitsi'poyiiks pippustoimia. Ki vaatohkai pojaaksa, ki vaatohkuin sta piaupaita piisa. Tamikaka aitsi'poyiiks pippustoimia.
When the first people were originally made by Creator, they were able to live 500 years, but they didn't have any kind of structure to their society. They just lived 500 years. They didn't talk.
Oh, kimo istipaita piopi tani suunami phtsaapsittu. Suunami kikinaapsi muukse nohkaapsitaaksi. Taaksi kaksinnomua ni soiki pippustui. Ndaki tokutea mahkaipuissa. Oh, kindaki tomannesta imianesta puutua muukiska mianesti ohkawakska. Makuhtokona instoa pissi opaita piiso.
So Creator said the people aren't they're not doing very well. So I'm going to take 400 years off their lives, and then I'm going to place them into different groups so that their lives can be a little more ordered. And that was the clans that they would place them into. And he gave us the ability to speak.
Ken kita kohtoy ang bakita pig sa chimoy ka sa sige sa kita so kanya hay na pinagokito stoim ki pipus stoims anyo ko Kristo ki stipai tapio.
So when older people pray, they ask that they live to be 100 years, and this is what the Creator gave us to begin with.
Oh, kita matapi puyo kita na stapi kipai tapi sinon. Oh, kinako ka inako ta inaksi ko nakumukka nakona ni tupopi. Si kaston ni ka social media nagipi naksapi puy. Once you tell a story and it's captured on social media, your story belongs to the whole world, no longer yours. So then understand, but along with some of the elders, they're a little reluctant to share what we refer to as intellectual property rights. Ikakahto pumukan naman istannak ko taumatskatopya ni paitapis ni ikita suksi kapistop akutsksini seman stapchipi ni paitapis.
So once we were able to speak, life became more structured. Life became better. Wilton's a little bit scared of social media. Once you tell your stories, it goes all over the place. It could be right across the world. But a lot of this knowledge is something that's paid for. We don't just, we don't just receive this knowledge. We go ask for it and we pay for it. And in the future, that we're also paid for that, to pass on that knowledge.
Oh, kimoko kipaitapi sinoni nasa kuti naksipui nakmuksi monato si Niitsipowahsin si Aitsi'poyiiks Drummers.
One month is 28 days.
Oh, ni kuputsi natos.
There are 13 moons.
Napi ko aksi tokokya Niitsipowahsin natos.
The white man gave us the Gregorian calendar of 12 months.
Annikaistanesti aukosi mo Aitsi'poyiiks pakkihpist annanatosi itsistukami natosi.
So in the fall, there are 2 moons in the 1 month when the choke cherries are ripe.
Oh, kimoksi Niitsipowahsin si Aitsi'poyiiks Drummers moksi natosi hikanaksstanis timya maatisihviititskakaikstikumi kinniiksi akunnatsikstikkumsa niitini tokana ikstikkumya sia moksi natosi.
When we divide the year into 13 months of 28 days, it's an equal. All the months are equal. We don't count some months more and some months less.
Ho kamo kita kiosinoni siksikait tapia manistihpi moksi humi Hauissinaksini kenniksi sitokannistimmiksi uhkutukiksi kitsikkammia niin sohkitsikkammia kemiitomannistuksahkia naatsippuja naannessiikuputte.
So with our logo, we have seven rocks in each quadrant. And then when you put them all together, it makes 28 total.
Hoogino kagidaka jagdamsuka noe hoosika abisata kitaksis umka kitaksis ama pinaapohtenike navigaaksen hotte johkitsen ikkatumia kistana nohonistaan ikkatupa ineskimmi tommoi Kamukstohki musti johkatsisti naatsippuja naannessiikuputea siksikaannestappi.
So when we talk about the medicine wheel over by Majorville, we call it Iniskimitum or Buffalo Rock Hill. That medicine wheel has 28 spokes on it, and we know that it's Blackfoot.
Hoogio imistopamska puhtsi anno matitstiam mahka kitaksin ni tömättännistu musti johkatisti matsiksikaannestapsa.
Down in Wyoming, there's the bighorn medicine wheel. That medicine wheel also has 28 spokes, just like the one at Major.
Henkehtautskinihpa utumukkichihpiikitauxinnooni niitaapsinnatumaqsarkuumi siksikaitsitappia.
That's these markers or these medicine wheels mark our territory. So our territory is quite big.
Kiskohtaka kieva maatsina kievaksa maanistaassina kipi naapi koeks kistononi sinakio nohgiraakadam sokaanishpa aaksiksarkuist hokiksarkuita kitakia anke kistonona kisinaaksinna.
So we don't have the alphabet like in the alphabet in the writing that the white man does. Our writing is a little bit different. It's the pictographs at different places, and also the markings on the ground.
Hoginapi koeks nohtaamata pukstumukia husteakania imitauta siks naatsippuumhiki pippustui nimeihtumata pukstumumia eistsui nakakooniarno isiiki makaksarkui.
So the white man's history of us starts from what they refer to as the dog days, when we use the dogs as our main beasts of burden. So that's 12,000 years ago when the last ice age ended.
Kiistonoon umhokitsiniksinooni itsikkiae apiisiks naatsippuumhkat uumhki pippustui.
So according to our stories, we tamed the wolves 20,000 years ago, and they became our dogs.
Mistä pskohtako kumuksi somitestissi imitauta siks annako knah iskahkima uhkutukiksi ihtiskahkimia ukoasta oikein huustiskäänispistska iskahkimaksi mistä pskohtika muksi imitauta siks nimestä istita piimuksi aiskahkima.
So even before that time, before the dog days, our people used to hold down their tent covers or teepee covers with rocks. And it's these rocks that we still see, what we refer to now as teepee rings. We still see them out in the prairie.
Mistä pskohta kaukanahka niitä aikania api max.
And even before that time were the people that made lean-tos.
Matista pskohta kaukanahka stiksenautsimak kaikuhkse ohtasiikkimia ja on okonesta sitä pihpi stiksenautsimak.
So, and then even before that were people that dug in the ground and would cover with whatever they could cover their shelter with.
Hook, so mitästi imitauta siksi annaka mistä pskohtakas sitä piakka matsikiuas kaneitsi maatu mitästi amuki tpikaakiks.
So even before the dog days were the people that made their moccasins from one piece of leather. They didn't have a separate sole on the moccasin.
Hoken ohka kistunona staisida biogagani opia natuitsiki nimetuutsio maatumaa tpikaakia muskana tuitsikis kaneitsio istapstut.
So for ceremonial moccasins, we use moccasins that's made out of one piece of hide, and not a moccasin made with a sole.
Oh, gautitskiti mukmuksi mitauta siksi kennakaukanahka I tpikaakiak.
So after the dog days, there were the people that made moccasins with soles on them.
Oh, kennakaukanahka niitukuiakak istauka.
And then the next group of people were the people that lived in teepees with teepee pegs.
Oh, kennamuksi itsinaapäitä biopiks. Nakaukanahka I kukkauak. Jakaanesti piskiti naatuki joukskaamaksi kiipi pustoimusi I kukkaeksaanesti sam.
And now today we're part of the people that in the last 2,000 to 3,000 years that have teepee designs.
Ki muuksi I kukkaeks akionna ukuami ni tuis. Ookima unnasina eikä kohkoakaan tsimää päin johkui miksi kuiksi maakionna ukua.
So with the teepee designs, it's the woman that owns the teepee. And the man just goes out and provides for the woman in the teepee.
Hookio mutta tsuutapiisina muka akukaatsini. Muuksi mielestäni johkoaksi. Ehkä näsks kummoja otaakin toki kahpeista näin staapia. Maadakin sihpäissä eppumaappi. Kidäkin tuomi tässä pika mitkoki kääniki kiksista. Ja mitkoituitsissa kinna omhta pitä pihvi kidäkin sitä pistot.
So when we have our circle camp, akukats, each of the clans know where they're supposed to camp. So if you don't know where you're supposed to camp, the first place you would go to is where your mother camped. And if there's no room there, then you would go where your father camps.
Hookimuksi kukkaeksi. Kaksi knipagidauhkanai pommuutspam nokumukitiuhtaa in kitimanika kokaanikseni musi mikutiikkokaani. Matopsi I niskimiksi I kokaani hitohkana suka piamo maakkuutsimani hitaapsini hitaaju kimatupsa eppumaapi aamuhkaistin iksina. Aamuhkognakka I niskimaka kiitauttai mopia mutsupisataapsia kiiksenikseis kutai muhka istitsau uutipersi I niskimiksi Psia misti kokaanisti ja niksei tauttai mopi tahtaapsupia haissoa ohpuksoima haakaatumukia haista pskumukia se eppumaapi.
So with the TP owners or the TP design owners, there, Herman spoke about the different designs that he's had, and he sang the song for the TP designs. And along with that, there's also the buffalo stones or buffalo rocks, Iniskim. And included with the TP designs are the buffalo rocks. And it's the woman that, in our stories, it's the woman that was given the Iniskim a long time ago. And these Iniskim are kept in our teepees, and they give us good luck. They watch our teepee and they keep any kind of bad luck or danger away from our camp.
Higekam sugditsi ksanessi aamuksumbakinaks Aitsi'poyiiks Atuissanneks hoogi kumuhtampua nuhkastanakukui kokkaani. Kahkitsitsinnikpuaga muhkitsiki paapauke I kokkaani nuhtaaksissita piihpi. Jaamata pitsinnikki himuksi huume naapstio mi tipputupia. Sitä miksistä koatsia. Ja ahtsitskoegi, niin kokikin sitä on ohksipapauk. Sitten kristaatsia naapstio. Ja nyt siihen, saakaan niitä, saakaan niistä papauk. Häni muut suukkaani, se pussapsini kakaiksikkasin. Häni aama patsuhti. I kukkaan or akiittui mi kukkaan. Haama skaapuhti kriikreenpuhksin. Huum johksipistani, humkinnaama uhkipistaan. Maa vastaan kipitääkin. Huum uhkipistaan ka näpimässä iksiksenöi. Maa vastaan vaikutsin naani näijau.
I'll have to have Wilton translate that himself.
This old man invited all his friends, the ones that had visions, dreams. He wanted to have a teepee design of his own. So he started to invite, and the old fellows started to tell their stories, their visions, their dreams. There was a blind man sitting by the door. They skipped him and went to the next one. And the blind man said, "Oh, what about me? I had a dream." "Oh, okay, well, tell us what's your dream." And said, I was sleeping. He said, "When I opened my eyes, everything was just white. And I looked on the north side of the lodge. It was a bush where all the berries, choke cherries, Saskatoons, where they grow. On the south side was Moccasin musical notes. The door flap was an old man. The flag was an old lady. And that old man was bothering everybody that was coming through the door. That old lady, every time he did something, would say, "Nai-yo." These old timers, they really gave each other a hard time. Okay. Aitsi'poyiiks Drummers, no Moccasin. Niitsipowahsin
Our way of life is quite good. It's I guess you could say wonderful. Wilton's going to tell us a little bit about Sundance. The posts around the circle or around the circumference, there's 12 of them, and then there's one in the middle that holds up everything. And the rafter poles would be 12 as well. So our clans are 12 as well. So when the center pole is going to be raised, all the clans get together and they come to the center and use TP poles to help raise the center pole of the Sundance Lodge.
If we count all the clans that we have, you're going to be over 30. There are sub-clans, but there's 12 major clans. And that's why Okani has 12 poles. Ki noki iksipissatapi kinno niksmuksi imahkotukskeksi naatsikuputsi tapia hokima kinnina itstatsikipua ikanitautsinnakiopia.
So with our chief and council, there's 12 councillors and the chief, just like the Sundance Lodge.
Nani tokuki tripata piopachanestei tumonestiika kimosi. Maragitsi pisinapoya ikskapi aksokskami.
So that's what was given to us by Creator. Both, it's equal. The Sundance camp and the Sundance Lodge is equal. It won't. Both sides are equal. When we put up the center pole, it won't fall one way or the other. It's lunchtime.